Inside ours, we have a quest that Olivia wrote where it's not just Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe quest. It goes through all 7 Chronicles of Narnia from the Magician's Nephew all the way through to the last battle. And so this would be a fun way to set up a end of the camp party and go through the quest and then celebrate with lots of food and lots of sweets. And you were supposed to make us some snacks.
I didn't get around to it. I am so sorry.
All right, so I am going to move on to I'm going to end a lot sooner than I thought because we were 5 minutes late getting started. But if you will enter your names into, is she on?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So we're seeing you live, Gina. Yay. Okay. Actually, why don't you read us some of the comments so that we can.
Okay. Yeah, just real quick, just to shout out to everybody who's commented so far. We have Melissa. She says she's from Colorado. I almost said avocado.
Hey, Melissa. Glad you joined us.
With Wyatt, Ashley, and William. Yay. And then we have AZ from Julia from Ireland. Dottie McAllister from Maryland. And then we have Liesel, and
Wisconsin.
Then Trekkie Gal from Houston with Evelyn, Catherine, Sierra, and Saphira. And then we have Isabella from Oklahoma. Hi!
So, hey, everybody who are joining us. We are so glad that you found us. And thankfully, we got it up and going. So I appreciate all of your patience. And I can't say that I'm not tech savvy anymore because Olivia's gotten on to me for saying that way too many times. But anyway, so if you will post.
I already did.
Oh, Olivia has posted in each of the little comments below where you can find your talking beast name. And so to do that, you take, let me get to mine because I've been chatting. Oh, you take the first letter of your first name and the month you were born, and it will tell you what your talking beast name is. And so I am Snuffle Dust because my name starts with an A and I was born in November. I am Snuffle Dust Deer.
And I am Flopsy Badger.
And so, Deshelle, do y'all have this or do y'all want to give? Okay, you want to tell us y'all's name? Okay, Gina doesn't have it. Gina, what year were, no, not year. What month were you born?
January.
Okay, so your name starts with a G. So your first name is Nimble Knot, and you are a Badger as well. So you and Olivia are in the Badger family. Deshelle?
I am Wood Weaver Owl, and I feel that is incorrect because I do not look at all owly today. So,
you can be Wood Weaver Beaver.
I feel like that's much more appropriate.
I love that. And so just like we're doing, y'all can mix up your names. If you don't like yours, you can just mix and match and find your names for each day. But it would be really fun to get the stickers and put your name on it so everyone has to call you by that name on that day that you dress up. So if you want to enter your names in the comments, we can read those in a little bit. But I am going to, do we have anything else we want to discuss?
I can't think of any off the top of my head. I'm already looking at the names. So we've got Snuffledust Owl and Reepicheep Fox. We have Glimfeather Beaver and Bulgy Rabbit. We have Pattertwig Eagle. I'm also seeing a lot of people mention in the comments, especially on YouTube. All of the links are in the comments, so you just need to scroll up in the chat a little bit, and you'll be able to find all the links there.
Okay, the links for the different...
Yeah, the links for the different websites as well as for the Talking Beast name, the PDF, all the links are in the chat.
And studio members, the entire PDF should be in your on your course page. And if you purchased it separately, it should be in your private course page as well. So I am going to go ahead and throw this over to Gina next, who is going to talk about how musical instruments can be used to simulate various animals.
Hi, everybody. So, you probably have noticed when you're watching movies or cartoons or something that they often use music to find a way to really give you more feeling of the story, of the characters. So, I thought it would be fun today for us to look at some instruments and play a little bit and see if we can possibly find a way to pick a particular instrument for a particular animal. What I did was I just found some simple instruments that I had around home. So even if you don't have any real instruments, you can get something like this, a pan from your kitchen, and some wooden spoons. Maybe you have a plastic Easter egg and you can fill it with rice or with dried beans or something like that, and it can be a shaker. So even if you don't have real instruments, you have something around your house that you can make some instruments with. But I am going to show you some real instruments. This is one of my favorites for making a variety of different kinds of sounds. It's a hand drum, and you can play it in so many different ways, which is really fun. You can obviously hit it with your hand, and you can hit it with a stick, but you can also scratch it and rub it and, hit it with like your elbow or the palm of your hand, different ways like that, and it sounds different. So I'm going to demonstrate those for you. So just listen for a second. So different things like that, but let me show you some other instruments. This is called a rain stick, and I made it out of a paper towel tube and put rice inside, and you just turn it. Hopefully you can hear that. So it kind of sounds like rain. So think if there's an animal that might match that sound. Next, I have this instrument. And this instrument actually has an animal sound in its name. It's called a cowbell. And this one is really fun. Let me hold it this way. Does it look like an animal to you? It's supposed to look like a cricket. And if you rub it on the side, it sounds a little bit like a cricket. Listen to this. This is a type of güiro, which is spelled Guiro, and it's a ridged wooden instrument that has a scraping sound. Okay, let me do a couple more here. This is a little shaker, kind of like if you did the Easter egg one. And a little bell. Here are some sand blocks. This one's going to be pretty quiet. Listen. All right, so now that I've showed you some instruments, I want to show you some animals from the Chronicles of Narnia story. Pull them out here. They got buried under all of my instruments. And we'll talk a little bit about what these animals are, who they are, and then I have some instrument sounds to go with them. And then if we have time, we're going to play a game. So this obviously is Aslan, the main character from the Chronicles of Narnia, and he is a lion. This is Reepicheep, the mouse. Got to remember their names. Mogren, the mean wolf that works for the White Witch. Glimfeather is an owl. We have Fledge, who used to be Strawberry, but then he got wings and his name was changed to Fledge. Here's Puzzle the donkey from the very last book, The Last Battle. Here is 2 horses, but we're going to do it for Hwin, the female horse from The Horse and His Boy. The bad ape from The Last Battle named Shift. And this is the serpent from The Silver Chair. And finally, Bulgy Bear from Prince Caspian. So here are some sounds that I found that I thought might go with some of these animals. And then I'm going to just play the sound and you are going to see if you can remember which one goes with which. Okay, so here is the serpent. Put my speaker here and hopefully you can hear it better. So that was actually a cymbal. So it kind of sounds like the hissing of a snake, doesn't it? Next, let's do Bulgy Bear. This is going to be with a tuba, the very low instrument. Here he is. All right. Next, we have Shift the Ape. And that was actually not a real instrument, but making a sound with something around the house like scraping metal. Don't you think that fits with this bad guy here? Let me play it again. Oh, that was the wrong thing. Here we go. So that is, it kept playing other ones. That was Shift. Next we have Hwin, who is the horse. So that is a clarinet playing Hwin's sound. And then for Puzzle the donkey, we're using some type of whiro to make it sound like he's clip-clopping. Listen again. One second here. Okay, then we have the flying horse Fledge. And where is he? Where he is. So we have a flute for him, like flying up high in the sky. For Glimfeather, another high-pitched sound. That was a piccolo. Let me play it again. And now the wolf, Mogren. That's a low bass drum for him. And for the brave little mouse Reepicheep, we're doing a tambourine, kind of like him leaping around doing his sword fighting. Let me play again. And then for Aslan, we did the snare drum because he's such a regal character. By the way, tomorrow when we come back and do this again, we're going to be talking about musical instruments that go with royalty. And we'll talk about some more of those. And I will be giving away this instrument, the ocarina. So if you'd like to win this instrument, be sure to join us tomorrow. Okay, you ready for the game? This will be fun. I'm going to play the sound a couple of times and you try to guess. You can either type it in the chat or you can just say it in your own mind and see if you get it right. Okay, so here we go. Did anyone remember that one? So it's a cymbal and it sounds a little bit like hissing. So that was the snake. That's right. Very good. The serpent or the snake. I'll play it one more time. Okay, here's the next one. So the snare drum. Who did we have for the snare drum? Sounds kind of like a marching regal character. That was Aslan. Very good. The lion. Excellent. Now let's do this one. Sounds a little bit like a neighing horse, maybe. That was the violin for Hwin, the horse. Now this one. I think this is my favorite. So the low tuba. Do you remember what that one was for? Who was that? You guys can answer while I find the picture. Here it is. Yay, Bulgy Bear, you got it. That's right, Bulgy Bear was the tuba. Now let's do this one. That was the tambourine. Sounds like little movements. Yes, the mouse. Very good. Reep-a-cheep the mouse. And now this one. Where'd it go? There it is. The low bass drum. Sounds like a mean character. Who was that? Yeah, it did sound like an explosion. The wolf. That's right. Mogren the wolf. And then we have this one. Sounds of like a really high pitched, so probably something that flies. Very good. It's the owl, Glimfeather. And yes, that could be the flying horse. They're very similar. But this one was Glimfeather, the owl. Oh, kept going to a different thing. Here we go. That one sounds scary, evil. That was Shift. Very good. The ape. Shift the ape. Okay. We have, I think, two more. Where'd it go? There it is. Who was that? Another flying animal. That was Fledge the flying horse, formerly known as Strawberry. That's right. And one more. Who's this? So that was the hero. Sounds like an animal walking. The donkey, Puzzle the donkey. Wow, a lot of you got those right. Very good. That means you are listening well. You are able to distinguish between different sounds. Now, if you happen to have brought some instruments with you, or you have something around your room that you could use, and you can use anything, like I have a stapler. You can make music with that, right? If you have a pencil, you can bang it on the table and make a pencil. You can also use body percussion, is what we call it. So clapping, rubbing, tapping, stomping your feet. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to show those same 10 animals again. We're playing another game, and you're going to make your own sound with it, with something that you have around you. So it could be with your voice, body percussion, or as some type of instrument or object you have around you. Okay, so I am going to show you the animals now. And you guys just have fun being creative. Okay, here is Puzzle the donkey. Unfortunately, we can't hear everybody's, but if you want to, you can type in and tell us what you did, or what object or instrument you used. Next, we have Fledge, the flying horse. You banged your shoes on the table. Good one. Shift the ape. A couple of things other people have done is plastic egg with beans inside, clapping hands on the ground, blowing in a bottle, coconuts, and whistling. Those are great. Then Glimfeather the owl. Piano tambourine. Oh, a book that has texture to scratch. I like that idea. That's great. Stomping, blowing across the top of a glass bottle. Here's Mogren the wolf. Scraping spoons together, banging two spoons together. Oh, a recorder for the owl. That's great. Next, we have Reepicheep the mouse. Banging a drum for the wolf. Shaking a cup like he's ruffling his feathers. Fun and low piano for the wolf. See, there's so many different ways to do this for the animals. You all are being so creative. Jumping. How about Bulgy Bear? Shaking a pill bottle, tapping a pencil for mouse footsteps, twinkling wind chimes, bells, and jumping and scratching a plate. Using your voice. How about When the horse? Tambourine, banging the stick of a broom, playing a harp for the mouse, roaring, and for the bear you cut paper. Love it. Can't actually remember where I started. Here's Aslan. I'm pretty sure we didn't have Aslan yet. Playing the piano, playing an ocarina. Look at you. I think that was the last one because it went around back to the serpent, and it looks like we are just about ready to switch over to Miss Deshelle, who'll do some poetry with us. It says, for the lion you sang, and I am really proud of you all. I think you all got some ideas now of how to make instruments or sounds to sound like animals. So I hope you'll join us the next 2 days. Tomorrow we'll talk about instruments related to royalty, and the day after that, instruments related to mythical creatures or the medieval period, those types of fantasy movies or experiences. Okay, I'm ready to switch over to Deshelle. Bye, everybody.
That was awesome. Thank you so much, Gina. I want to just say, whoever can play the ocarina and do the Macarena at the same time, you win all 3 prizes. And you have to record it so we can see it. No, that was great. And I just wanted to say that right when you showed, what was his name, Bulgy Bear, my stomach growled. So that was like perfect too. And now I'm going to shut up and let Miss Deshelle teach us about, is it this prophecies with Mr. Beaver, right? Excellent.
Okay. Well, I'm going to become a little less Mr. Beaver because Miss Deshelle can't talk with her teeth in and needs her glasses to see. So, all right, today we're going to talk about prophecies with Mr. Beaver. Now, I don't really look that much like Mr. Beaver. I look a little more like Miss Beaver. And according to my daughter, I look a little bit like a cross between a lion and from, let's see, what was The Wizard of Oz. And I believe Olivia called me a mouse, which I'm a little sad. She would think I was looking like a mouse. So I'm going to be Miss Beaver today. Now, we're going to talk about prophecies because in the book, Mr. Beaver tells a prophecy. So does anybody know what a prophecy is? If you know, you can feel free to type it in the chat. But we see prophecies in lots of things, like, for example, Harry Potter. Anybody remember the prophecy from Harry Potter? You're okay, Olivia. The prophecy was this: the one with power to vanquish the Dark Lord will be born as the 7th month dies. That's one of those prophecies that we hear in the book, Harry Potter. And in fact, it's repeated all through it. So we kind of know about prophecy. If you read the Bible, you'll read prophecies in the Bible. So prophecies are something that is like a prediction. Yes, exactly. Some of you are putting in here, foretelling the future. That's exactly what it is. It's foretelling the future. So when a prophecy, you're going to see something that's going to be predicting or giving a message. And it's usually by somebody who's pretty wise or knowing, just like, a beaver, not a bear, a beaver. So I guess the beavers are pretty wise in Narnia. I don't know. But we're going to see somebody probably pretty wise or mystical figure that's going to be telling this prophecy. So in our story, Mr. Beaver is telling the prophecy that everybody knows in Narnia. But the children don't know the prophecy because they've never been to Narnia before. Just like maybe you haven't read the book yet, so you don't know the prophecy. So let's listen to a little bit of this prophecy. Now, what's happening is the children have come to Narnia. Now, they don't know what Narnia is. They're from England. So when I read this, imagine a British accent because some of the words don't rhyme in my Southern Tennessee accent, but they do if you're from Great Britain. So they're at the beaver's house and they're listening to this prophecy about what's happening because they don't know who Aslan is. They don't know who the White Witch is. They don't know any of these people. So they're trying to figure out what's going on. So here's what Beaver tells them. Wrong will be right when Aslan comes in sight. At the sound of his roar, sorrows will be no more. When he bares his teeth, winter meets its death. And when he shakes his mane, we shall have spring again. Okay, so now they're learning, something's going on. This Aslan guy must be maybe going to fix some things. So, what is he going to fix? Well, when they came to Narnia, everything's really cold and it's winter. And they don't realize it, but it's always been winter for as long as the animals can remember. And they don't know really why. The kids don't really know why. And so this prophecy is kind of telling them what's going on and when winter is going to change back into spring. And it's going to be when Aslan comes back inside. So you have a British accent, Shell? Well, yes, you could probably read this a lot better than me because I do not have a British accent. So let's talk about some of the really cool things in this poem, which is a prophecy. But you know what? Poems and prophecies can be the same thing. Just like, do you have a favorite song? Do you ever listen to your lyrics, to your music, and notice that they are poems as well? And if you've ever read like The Hobbit, like we did last summer lit camp, we noticed that there was a lot of poetry in songs. So Tolkien would write songs in his stories that look like poems until you add music. Like when Miss Gina adds the music sounds to things, it changes it. It's no longer a poem, it's a song. And the same way is with a prophecy. The prophecy has a rhythm to it. Notice it has a rhyme to it. Can you hear that rhyme? Let's see. Wrong will be right when Aslan comes in sight. Notice that it's rhyming. At the sound of his roar, sorrows will be no more. So hear that rhyming sound as it goes through. We also have a rhythm. Wrong will be right when Aslan comes in sight. At the sound of his roar, sorrows will be no more. So you can feel that rhythm. So you know the prophecy is also poetry. So we're kind of doing both things. Oh, you're reading The Hobbit right now? Great. This is a good book too. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to have you close your eyes. If everybody just close your eyes, and I want you to listen because we're going to listen to the poem. And I want you to think about everything that you can see and hear as I read the poem, okay? And if you think about it, if you think of something, go ahead and type it in the comments, what you're seeing or what you're hearing when I read the poem, okay? This is called imagery. And so imagery is this really cool literary element that's used to make pictures in your mind. So the author's going to give us some really cool visuals and we're going to see it in our minds. Everybody close your eyes. Are you ready? Close your eyes. Wrong will be right when Aslan comes in sight. At the sound of his roar, sorrows will be no more. When he bares his teeth, winter meets its death. And when he shakes his mane, we shall have spring again. Or again, if I'm British. Okay, could you see things in your mind? What did you see when you were listening to that poem? Or prophecy, I guess I should say. Could you see him baring his teeth? Could you see the lion's teeth? Could you imagine what Aslan looks like? Now, if you haven't watched the movies, you may see your own type of lion. If you watch the movies, you'll probably see the lion from the movies because that's kind of how we do. We get those pictures in our head and it's hard to let go of them. I remember reading this book a long time ago and I had all these pictures of what things look like in my head. And then as I watched the movies, they all changed to look like the movies. All the kids in the story look like the movies. So that's okay. Okay, so we've got, I don't know if I'm saying this name right, Shadron says a lion. Melissa's kids say winter turning into spring, snow melting. Oh, those are good visuals. Yeah. When the winter turns into spring, we see things start to melt. We see things start to come back alive again because in the winter, it's all cold and things are dying, right? Most of our trees don't have pretty leaves on them anymore. Most of our flowers are gone. So we see all that death and decaying and things. And then things that are broken, okay, good. And then we see spring things coming back to life. So we get those ideas in our head. What about when he shakes his mane? Do you guys see? My mane is all tied up back here, but we'll see. What back here I can do my mane. Shakes his mane. Do you see the mane, the hair flowing? Now I really look like a lion, don't I? Shaking his mane. Yeah, you see Aslan roaring. Flowers blooming. Good. Okay. So this is what we call imagery. Is creating this image in your mind. Now that's a mental imagery. Have you ever thought about maybe something where you have sound? We call that auditory imagery. Can you hear anything? What if I read this line again? At the sound of his roar, sorrows will be no more. Can you hear what Aslan sounds like in the story? Can you hear a lion roar? Is it a little weak roar, or is it really loud roar? Is it like a cub lion, or does it sound to you like a very powerful lion? What do you think? When the sound of his roar, sorrows will be no more. So that, yeah, you heard his roar? Oh, you're a lion zodiac. Me too. I'm a Leo. So there you go, lion. Oh, joy coming and excitement. I love that. That's a great visual. Loud and strong, yes. So his roar is very loud, very strong, very powerful, because it's got to turn winter into spring. It can't be a little wimpy roar, can it? It would have to be very powerful, very loud, very good. Okay, so let's see if I can think of find another point. Oh, here's another one. Here's another prophecy. When Adam's flesh and Adam's bone sits a caravel enthroned, the evil time will be over and done. All right, let's close our eyes again and listen. When Adam's flesh and Adam's bone sits at caravel enthroned, the evil time will be over and done. And I'm sure in British it says done, so it rhymes. But let's listen to that one in our heads, and let's picture some mental images. What are you seeing? What is Adam's flesh and Adam's bone? What do you think he's referring to there? And what does it mean to sit in a throne? Can anybody have any ideas of that? Oh, going back to the elder one, we're a little delayed, so the comments come in a little bit later. So that's cool. Glitter coming out of his mane when he shakes his head. I like that. I like the glitter idea. Okay, so what do you think Adam's flesh and Adam's bone is, and what do you think it means to sit on a throne? You see Adam from Has Been Hotel. Okay. Okay, good. Yeah, the last Adam. That's good. So yeah, we have this kind of, I believe Olivia mentioned it in the beginning about an allegory, which is a story in a story. So C.S. Lewis here is telling us a story within a story. And so you may have heard this story before, if you think about it. So it makes two boys and two girls. So the kids, that would, yes. So Adam's flesh and Adam's bone, that would be people. Okay. So that's the kids that we're talking about. And it doesn't really say kids. So they don't know at this point, is it talking about them? Is it talking about somebody else? But they know that it's supposed to be a person or people, because it's more than one. And then we talk about sitting on the throne. That sounds like royalty, doesn't it? Sounds like somebody's going to become a king or a queen. So these are the prophecies that the children are hearing, and they're trying to figure out, what does this mean? Okay, so that's where we talk about imagery. Let's talk about something else that is a literary element. And this is a really important one. It's called symbolism. Now, I just said the word allegory. An allegory is a story within a story. So somebody's telling a story, but there's another story already in there. Maybe it's something like The Little Engine That Could. Anybody ever read that story, The Little Engine Could? And he just keeps going and keeps going. And that's the story about a little engine, but it's also a story about how we need to keep going, keep fighting, and keep doing what we need to do, those kind of things. Those are like stories within a story. Allegories tell us something that maybe we wouldn't understand if we just said it outright. So we tell it in another story that's more fun, like with a lion and little kids going into Narnia. That makes it a little more fun, and people can read it and go, oh, that's just a children's story, but it actually tells us a really good moral to it. So in symbolism, our author is going to find things that he's going to think are important, and he wants to make them even more important in the story. So let's think about that. We have Aslan. Now, Aslan, let's go back and look. What is Aslan going to do? When Aslan comes at sight, sorrows will be no more. So he's going to get just rid of all the sorrows. Also, when he bares his teeth, winter's going to go away. When he shakes his mane, spring is coming. So do you think Aslan, what do you think he's a symbol for? Anybody got any ideas? I'll give everybody a second because I know that the comments take a hot minute. Okay, so are you studying? So Wyatt is studying literary devices. So this is a great review. We like to do a little literary devices in our poetry tea times too. This is not really tea time today, but I don't have my tea, but we will have tea time later in the week. Okay, yes, great allegories. So Aslan in this story, the very obvious one, if you're looking at the allegory, is God or Jesus, the biblical view of Jesus. But in more simple terms, we're looking at hope, right? We're looking at goodness, positive, good things. Right now, we're working on a Star Wars thing. And so we're talking about the good versus the bad, the light versus the dark. So there's good versus bad. And in this story, Aslan is the good, Aslan is the light, he's the hope. Yes, Angie, he's the symbol of love. He's the symbol that everything that's good and right in the world. Whereas we've got the white witch who's turned everything winter. So that would make winter kind of bad, right? And we see death, and we see things dying and things cold, and nothing's growing. And think about it, if it was always winter, what would you eat? All our food would die. You know, even if you said, okay, well, we can go out and hunt animals, you couldn't even do that because the animals would die. So in winter, everything kind of dies. It's perfect for our world. We need that for our world to turn around and become spring again. But you couldn't live like that. And so all the animals were suffering in Narnia. And all the creatures, different creatures, magical creatures were suffering. Yeah. And so we see Aslan as this hope, whereas in spring being this good thing. So we see spring as a symbol of renewal and warmth and all the good things, whereas winter is the witch's reign, and it's evil and it's cold and it's despairing and it's sad and it's just not good, right? So we see those symbols of comparing really obvious things. Winter, where the evil queen is ruling, and spring, where the good Aslan is ruling. So think of those two options. He makes it really obvious. Yeah, the white witch being death. Good. Okay, so we got those symbols now. So we've looked at imagery and we've looked at symbolism. Okay, here's your job for tonight. Are you guys ready? I want you to write a prophecy. Do you guys think you can write a prophecy? It's not that hard. It really isn't. So these were short little prophecies. There are longer ones. If you go into Lord of the Rings, you can find a longer one. Harry Potter, there's some more in there. I bet you go to Macbeth, if you're a Shakespeare fan, you can find some prophecies there. So there's prophecies everywhere. Let's see if you can write one. It's really simple. Here's all you have to do. First, well, you have to think of something you want to write a prophecy about. Okay, so that's a brainstorm. You just sit and think, what would I like to write a prophecy about? It could be about how you're going to be the favorite sister. I don't know. Or something about your dog or your cat. And what you want to say is when, and then give something that's going to happen, some big thing that's going to happen. And then something else happens. See how simple that is? When you're thinking something happens, then something else happens. So you could say, when the golden dragon flies, peace will fill the skies. Now you don't have to rhyme, but I think it's way more fun if you rhyme. Don't you think it's way more fun if you rhyme? So see if you can do that. That is your homework for tonight. Well, yeah, homework. And I'll see you tomorrow to see what your prophecies are like. Now, before I go, I want to tell you about our special giveaway today. So every day, as Miss Alicia was telling you, we have a giveaway, and mine is today. So I have this great book of poems. Did you know C.S. Lewis was a poet before he ever became the writer of Chronicles of Narnia? He wrote poetry. His first book was published when he was 14. So are any of you close to 14? Because if you're still getting there, maybe you're 8 or 9, you still have time to write your first book of poetry and beat C.S. Lewis. And maybe you're 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. You could still write your own book of poetry. But his first book of poetry was written when he was 14 years old. That's pretty cool, isn't it? And this is a book of poetry that is made up of a lot of poems that he wrote over all his years. And in fact, his secretary, he put them together and put them in this book so that we could read them. So there's even a couple of stories in here, a couple of poems that are about Narnia. But most of them are not. And there you can see some really fun poetry in here. So this is one of the things that's going to be a giveaway. The other is a sticker. So my kids and I, we love stickers. We put them on our mugs. See my stickers on my, well, not mug. I guess that's my Yeti. Or your, I don't know, what is the new thing? I forget. Stanley, put it on your Stanley. I just like the one that, is pretty to me. So you can put it on there. You can put it on your computer. You can put it on your phone. You can put it on your books, your notebooks, whatever. So we have one that has Aslan, courage to your heart. And then this one is, can you recognize that? The light post when they enter Narnia. And it has a quote that says, I'll come back when you call me. We need to say goodbye. And we have to say goodbye today. So if you'd like to win any of these cool things, then what you need to do is type in the comments now. Are you ready? Beaver. Because I'm a beaver, right? Beaver. So if you can type beaver, and if you don't know how to spell beaver, Beaver, but we won't hold it against you. If you're close to beaver, we'll count it. So type beaver into the comments, and we'll pick one of you lucky people to win the poem book and the stickers. That's today. And if you want to continue on and have fun, make sure and join us at Summer Lit Camp. The code is scroll up there somewhere. It's up there in the comments, and you can get 25% off today if you type in live as the coupon code, and you get to join us. We're going to meet 4 times this summer. We're actually going to start this week on our Summer Lit Camp because it takes a while to read before we can get to our next meeting. But our next meeting will be next week in June. So I can't wait to see you guys there. And I'm going to turn everything back over to Miss Alicia and Miss Olivia if they are around. There they are.
We're here. All right. So I just want to make a note that all of you who are commenting, Miss Deshelle is going to choose the person, but the mother is the one who needs to. Do you want them to contact you, or do you want everyone to contact Misty and she can send the information?
Oh, either way, it's fine. Yeah, maybe we go Misty, and that'll make it easier. Everybody contacting the same person, so it doesn't make it difficult.
All right. So do you want to choose right now? Like scroll real quick and we put the name in?
All right. I will let my helper over here scroll and choose. Give me a second.
Helper. Do. Just kidding. Oh, you're muted too, Deshelle.
Well, I can't give away the secret. Our secret tactic for closing your eyes and putting your finger on there. That's what I'm doing. It's very sophisticated. And it's Jenny Alexander.
Okay, Alexander, if you are the mom, would you please send an email to contact@masterpiecesociety.com and give. And if you're not the mom, then have your mom put it in there. I'm going to put this in the thing really quick. Oops. Alicia is trying to type and talk at the same time, and that doesn't always work. All right. If you will send an email to Misty at contact@masterpiecesociety.com, and either Olivia or Misty did that at the same time, we will get that. We will get your email address, know your home address, hallelujah. And then Deshelle will mail those out to you. So remember, this is for 18 and up, so the mama needs to claim the prize. So, okay, I was just reading the comments. I don't know what that even means. So remember, tomorrow, Miss Gina is going to give away the ocarina and a year of Tolkien and Lewis. Now, is that going to be 2 separate winners, or is that going to be 1?
2 separate winners.
That is awesome. And then Olivia ran and got the book set. This is actually hers, but we're going to order it, a brand new one, for the winners on Wednesday. So this is the Chronicles of Narnia, and I love the artwork on these particular ones. So all of the books are really pretty. So we just want to thank y'all again for showing up and being a part and commenting. And tomorrow, I promise that we will go live at the right time and we won't be delayed 5 minutes. My fault. So we appreciate you coming, and we can't wait to see you tomorrow. So thanks for joining us, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.